Hi guys, 50cc dads here and lads. Travis and I once again going to be showing you how to remove the carburetor this time from an SX50. You might want to remove it to clean it or to make sure there's no water in it. If the bike seems to have certain flat spots at lower RPM, medium, high RPM, chances are that some dirt has got into the carburetor. Since these bikes don't have fuel filters, if you have dirty fuel going in or dust gets in at the track, or if you're not clean enough or careful enough to clean your siphon or keep your siphon pipe really clean, dirt will get in. Moisture can also get in from high pressure cleaning the carburetor, so you might have to service the carburetor or at least clean it. Being a two-stroke, being a very sort of low powered engine, that's very, very susceptible to changes in atmospheric pressure. So the way the bike performs at sea level is not going to be the way it performs at high altitude. So if you live in a country where altitude changes are pretty extreme, well, like we are in this country, sea level obviously 0 meters, and then I think Johannesburg's about 1200 meters above sea level, so that is a considerable variance. And if you're going to be tuning the bike, you'll be certainly going to be changing the main jet, and perhaps even some of the clips on the throttle body. We're not going to go into tuning of the carb. I feel that's beyond our capacity. But I will be showing you the components so that if someone does suggest put in a 52 jet or clean your jets, make sure everything's clean, then at least we can get that far. The reason we're taking the carburetor off today is because we're in what, Trav? Lockdown. And the fuel is going to go stale inside the carburetor. The fuel, don't forget, is mixed with two-stroke oil, 50-1. And all of that has been sitting now. It's been sitting for 21 days, or about 21, 22 days, if not longer, probably closer to a month. So I'd rather just empty the carb out, clean it, and leave it dry until such time as we can ride again. So now we're going to proceed to show you how to take the carb off. Okay, so what you're going to need is a flat screwdriver. There's a nut over there that you need to loosen, and another one over there. This attaches the carburetor to the engine or the reed block, and this one connects the carburetor to the airbox. You also have to remove the throttle housing. Start with that. Okay, I have to take it out first. Please forgive my ineptitude with the screwdriver. I'm holding the phone at the same time. Okay, I've taken off the back flange. Now the front one. Sort of muscle it out like this, and here you'll see a cable tie that you need to cut that just holds all the drain pipes and the overflows together. The carb is quite dirty anyway, just from standing, a bit of overflow coming out here. So the first thing we have to do is stop anything else going into the engine. Lock this up. Clean this up properly just now once it's disconnected. Just is that so tight? Finally, it's come loose. Right, well, we now have the carburetor off.
Hello.
Morning, guys. How you doing? It's another day of lockdown. We didn't get to finish our carburetor cleaning exercise demonstration, so we're going to continue with that today, Travis and I. I'm just concerned about the fuel inside the bowl, so I'm going to remove. Thank you. Thanks, Travis. I'm just going to remove the bowl for now, so I can sleep properly at night. That's the bowl. Gasket. Alright, just to go over some of the components again. Some of them I'm not too sure what they're called, but that's the gasket. Got to be very careful with that. I'm putting some of the smaller things into a separate container. There's this little bit here, part of the float. And this is a pin that holds the float in place. I'm taking out the main jet. Okay, I'm not sure if you can see that, but this is 90, it's a 90 jet. I will try and zoom in on that later. Just bear in mind, you see the way this thing is positioned. It's like a little upside down hat. That's the way to think of it, because you can put it in the wrong way around and then it doesn't really work. Okay, so this is the main jet. This is the little thing that it holds onto. If you can, not sure if you can see there, but it's a 9 and a 0. That's a 90 jet. With that, you change your how lean or rich your bike runs, and that's another topic beyond this one. There's another jet that comes out here. All of these will need cleaning. Another one over here. Can't really put these in the wrong way, so don't worry about that. And all of these have got these microscopic little holes where there's things there that need to be cleaned. Now that that's out, this is your float. Size 8. Off you go. Right, size 8. Takes that out. Right, that's about as far as we're going to strip this thing down. For this, you might want to block your eyes, because if this sprays back at you, it's like an alcohol-based solvent. Not very pleasant. Right, so this I'm going to go and blast with some clean air. Right, the main carburetor as well. Now, I would actually recommend doing this before stripping it down to this degree. Now I'm going to have to try and cover these holes to try and ensure that muck doesn't get in there. As I said, please Goggles would be ideal to wear. You don't want that stuff spraying back at you. Now I'm going to blast it with some compressed air. Right, so yeah, I believe I've cleaned it up sufficiently on the outside now to not contaminate the inside. So I'm just going to throw some of this carb cleaner into all the orifices. Let it soak in for a bit. I'm going to give it a blast with the compressor. This is the air fuel mixture. But if you are going to fiddle, I recommend that you always work out what it is back to 0 and then unscrew it again. I'll show you what I mean. So that's 1 turn, 2 turns, 2.5. So back to 1, 2.5 is where that one was set. That's how you adjust the air fuel mixture. If you have a wedding ring on, it's actually best to take it off before you use the carb cleaner, because it gets underneath the ring and between that and your skin, and it burns like crazy because I don't think it evaporates properly. So I better put that where I'm not going to lose it. Okay, now smaller components. I'm going to start with the jets and clean them. I think I'll do it in this container because it's shallower. Easier to see. You're going to transfer those across. So these jets, you won't be able to tell, but they've got microscopic holes through them. Go down. This one doesn't have any on the side. This is your main jet. It's got a hole right down the center, as well as some side holes. 1, 2, 3. Well, 2 sets there. Sorry, that wasn't the main jet. And then this is the main jet, 1 hole straight through. So I'm going to be cleaning those shortly. Okay, so this jet doesn't look blocked. I can see might be slightly blocked. Let's see. As you can see, there's such minute holes, it's so easy for them to get blocked up by accident. So now I'm going to blast some air through here. So there's the 3 clean jets. Right now it's just the other components. Here reassemble. So what we do is we start putting back all the jets and things. Don't over tighten anything. These ones just go back in, and as far as they'll go, nip them up. And you can see that little horseshoe shape there, and this thing's got a gap in it, so that kind of goes on like that, and it kind of just hangs. I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to put it upside down. It goes on like that. Amazing, it all hangs together so well. So while you're holding that delicately like that, this bit is going to end up going in here. You won't see it because of the camera angle, but that goes in there once it's clipped into the floats. It's a bit of a hit and miss. Eventually you'll get it. Okay, so it's fallen into place. Just slides through. There. So there you can see it just hangs in there and the whole lot pivots. Okay, so you remember I said this one goes with the hat, upside down hat, like that. Always a good idea to work over a basin like this in case you drop something. It's very likely. Nip that up a bit. Okay, so that's all the internals for the carburetor back together. This is the gasket. They don't last forever. I guess you should probably replace them once every 6 months, or once you find a lot of grime starting to squeeze through the carburetor, like this one is starting to. So I'll need to. They're very cheap, the kits. They also include a gasket for the throttle section. Okay, and that's in there, and it goes over like this. Can only go one way. Okay, I'm tightening these a bit more than I normally do because I noticed there was a bit of seepage through the gasket from the last time. So there's the carb put back together again, and now we're going to go back onto the bike. Okay, so I thought since I've cleaned the carb, I may as well empty out the fuel tank. Bearing in mind this is a 2020 model from August last year. So here's the tank. I just drained all the fuel into our container just so that the bike is nice and dry for a while. And I'm about to show you the amount of dirt that came out of the last couple of mils out of the fuel tank. So now I'm going to rinse the fuel tank with just some clean ordinary fuel, not with premix, and hopefully it'll flush the tank out. Okay, so this is my container. I don't know if you can see all that has just come out of the fuel tank without even trying. So I'm guessing there's more in there, and this is the type of thing that goes into your carburetor and blocks the jets because there are no fuel filters on these bikes. Okay, my 4-year-old daughter is now the video man. What I've done is I've poured some fresh fuel into this tank. Obviously not premix. It's okay.
Okay, now you can see you.
Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm shaking the tank furiously.
Because I pressed the red button.
In an effort to dislodge any dirt.
Must I?
Okay, can push it up. Okay, so you can see the fuel is green here because it's not premixed, and that's what came out of the second attempt. Sorry about the light. First thing we need to do is slide the throttle back into the gap. You can see there's two little things that stick out, key. This has got a corresponding slot in it. Sorry, I don't know the technical words for everything. All I know is that has to line up. Don't worry about the spring. You see, once it's lined up, it slides in nicely. And then you can tighten this up. I've tried to waterproof this using some tape, so water, when it runs down, doesn't go in. That's the hope. There's the throttle trail. Can you tweak the, Travis, can you tweak the throttle, please, to show people what it does? So you can see what the effect of opening the throttle does. Thank you. And using long nose pliers, I'm going to just reattach the fuel line. like that, so it clamps on good. So we take the overflow pipes and just feed them down there for now, and later on we'll cable tie them up neatly. Now it's just a bit of an arm wrestle to get everything in, but they are rubber pipes, so you're not going to break anything. Okay, so the throttle's good. We're just going to show you now that we need to cable tie up the overflow pipes. Okay, so there's 3 pipes. I just want to show you something on these pipes. I forgot to mention this before. Not sure if you can see that they're cut. Let me hold them there. Cut at 45 degrees each, or cut at 45 degrees. When the bikes come out of the factory, they just cut straight off, and this allows them to, funny enough, clog up a lot easier with dirt. So when you cut them at that angle, then for some other reason they don't really block up much with mud, etc. So these 3 now are just get fed between the frame brace and the back of the front of the swing arm. I'm just going to tie this loosely on for now, and then I'm going to position them. Overflow pipes, very important, have to face down and away. Okay, and that's cool, that's out the way. I'm going to just zip tie those up a little. The side cutters in there, just trim it. All that remains now is for us to put the tank back on, and then we're done with this section. So I'll put some WD-40 on the petcock and just give it a up and down, because they tend to seize up, and when they seize up, people force them, and when they force them, they strip them, and then they end up leaking, which can be disastrous on a race day.